Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Local Love presented by Emo Brown Media, your friend in all things South San Diego. Brought to you by who, BJ? Surprise me.
Surprise, surprise.
Liquid Death, friends of the show, big sponsors of all the things we do. Liquid Death provides all of the thirst murdering liquids we have for local love here, live in studio. Another friend of the show, often behind the scenes, but it's her turn to take center stage and tell us what she's all about. Amiga Marcela is here, the homie Marcy. Marshmallow 20. No, am I tripping? I just gave your social Instagram.
Cut this.
¿Qué onda? ¿Cómo estamos?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Bienvenida, gracias.
Finally making this happen, huh?
We've been flirting with the idea of you getting on here since your Amar Campanajar days.
Yes.
And here we are, long removed from that. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're all about.
Where do I start?
The beginning is good.
The beginning? Yeah. When I was born, I always like to get into my story a little bit just because it's been my guiding principle of the work that I do to this day. You know this. I'm a dreamer. I'm documented, deferred action for childhood arrivals, for those of you who don't know. I came to the States when I was 4 years old with my mom. She had $50 in her pocket, and she was in search of a better life. You know, the American dream, as all immigrant stories go. My mom was a housekeeper growing up, again, like most immigrant stories, worked 3 to 4 jobs at a time and did her best to put me through school. Like, her dream was like, Marcela needs to go to school. She needs to go to college. She'll get the best education. She didn't see that life for us in Tijuana, in Mexico, and so she came here. So, soy fronteriza.
Fronteriza. Brought to you by Fanta.
No? And I'm proud to have grown up here in San Diego. I'm proud to be the daughter of an immigrant mother. It's been a tough road, but I've been very fortunate to have many opportunities in my life. Growing up, a lot of mentors, my community that really got me ahead. In every chapter of my life, I've had someone guide me and then mentor me and show me the ropes to get to where I am today. Sometimes I think that I'm living this crazy dream because I'm getting to live these experiences that sometimes you see in movies, and you're like, how is that happening to me? And I always have these moments where I'm like, wait, is this really happening right now? And yeah, in fact, it is. And I think one of those big stories is when my mom was a housekeeper. She actually worked for someone by the name of Bill Gates. Do you know him?
I've heard.
Have you heard of him?
Heard of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Microsoft.
You know,
we used to
business
call
magnate,
him in
philanthropist, computer engineer. And I was 9 years old when she used to clean his house. And it was the first time that I had experienced like success, that certain level of success and wealth. That was new to me. And I just remember walking into his house. There was these pastel-y, like orangey colors, high ceilings. I was like, what the heck is this? I've never seen this before in my life. Leading up to that, I had my mother and my family role models that had taught me the work ethic and being courageous, being disciplined, being ambitious, reaching for your goals, striving for your dreams. But I had never seen that before. Later on, as I was growing up and continued going to his house, I realized I was no different than Bill Gates, right? That where I came from wasn't going to determine where I ended up. And so I really just worked hard with my mom, like behind my side, next to me, pushing me. And it's really been an incredible journey. Another one of her clients was John Moore. He's an ex-owner of Padres.
San Diego Padres.
So now you know why I'm such a Padres fan. I have a lot of Dodger family fans, and they always talk crap, but it's okay. I'm always going to be a Padres fan. Let them talk.
Bang your drum, Marcy. Bang that drum. You are truly a success. Not necessarily from how you started, where you started, just the things that you've accomplished. It's awesome to because I met you through your previous campaign that you were helping Mr. Amar through, and we kind of met there, and you would bring him on. We had, events at the brewery, events at local businesses, and you've always been a hustler. Like you're a straight up hustler, like looking for opportunities for growth. And I feel like you've done it, and now you've kind of broken away from things that help you get to this point, and you're doing it on your own now. You know, you tell us what you do. What do you currently do? What are the roles you're involved in?
I wear several hats, actually.
Yes,
So right now I'm the executive director of a nonpartisan, nonprofit statewide organization called California Ranked Choice Voting Institute. So that's my 9 to 5. On the side, I do what I love, which is running campaigns as a consultant. I started off my business named MMC Strategies. And so I'm still working here locally in San Diego, in Chula Vista, to be more specific. Last year, I was able to work on some ballot initiatives, the sales tax in Chula Vista. I was able to work with some candidates in Vista, board members, trustees, school board trustees, local campaigns for the Chula Vista educators, the Sweetwater Unified District PAC. So staying here local still, because this is my community. I've moved around 22 times while living here in San Diego County, but I would say that Chula Vista is my hometown.
Of course you would say that. Why would you not say that? I guess my question would be.
And I live here now. So
now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've been living here now, right?
Don't make us have to bring up addresses to make sure you live within our district.
No.
That has not gone so well.
It's not gone over well with people.
No. Yeah, let's not go there. Let's not go there. East and West Chula Vista, I love them both. Lived in San Ysidro, lived in Golden Hills, lived in City Heights. I've done
everywhere.
Everywhere.
But I feel that's a benefit.
Yeah.
That is a big building block on which you've created your success from. You get an opportunity to visit the different neighborhoods, communities that are within the county of San Diego, and they're all very different.
They're all very different, and just not the visiting, but like the fact that I lived in it.
Yeah.
I lived in Golden Hills and South Park before. It was cool.
I don't even know what Golden Hills is. In all honesty, I truly don't. Like people say, oh, I live in Mission Hills, or I live in Golden Hills. And I'm like, damn, truly, if it's north of like the 54, the 94, I lose track of the neighborhoods and where everything is.
Really?
La verdad.
You just stay here all the time.
You already know. I don't really leave Chula Vista. BJ can attest to that. We work at UPS.
To be specific, you don't leave West Chula Vista.
I leave West Chula Vista every morning. BJ and I both work at UPS, and that's in East Lake. So every day we're in East Lake, and then we come right back scurrying home, and we do everything we do on the west side. And it's awesome. But you've left completely everywhere. How does that play a role in your development?
I've been able to experience different parts of San Diego, and just, like I said, creating that community, like having community in different parts of San Diego is beneficial, obviously, like to me personally, because I have friends everywhere, but then also just personally, like business-wise, it's been amazing, because you go into rooms and people are like, well, how do you know that person? And how do you know this person?
You're a chameleon.
People are trying to figure out like how I know so many people, and it's not because it's just a business thing. Like I grew up all around San Diego County, and so I developed, like I said, mentors and community leaderships and friends with people all around. So it's been amazing to be part of San Diego. Like I used to want to leave. Like my dream was to go to NYU and go to New York City. I can't imagine leaving San Diego anymore.
I mean, we leave for vacations and come back, but it's like
absolutely. But to go live somewhere else,
I suffer from that disease where like wifey and I will travel, or if I'm going with my family, and I'm like, and then we'll go, and then I'm like, no, nada como San Diego. No, it's not even nothing like Chula Vista. Even
I'm like, Lolitos here.
What? You don't have carne asada fries? How do you guys live, bro? No, that's crazy.
You don't have beaches? What?
You don't. Yeah, we never even go to the beach. One of the traits, and I can only speak to it as a Mexican, as a Mexican American, we are chameleons. We know how to be put in a situation, and it truly doesn't matter for some reason or another. We end up adapting and figuring out how to move within that, parameter, or within that demographic, or within that group. You do that a lot. Obviously, you're very heavily involved in politics. You're very heavily involved with people who are community leaders.
Yeah.
I want to say it's because we're Mexican. Sorry, BJ.
Do you think it's because we're Mexican, or do you think that it has to do that we're fronterizos, right? That we live by the border?
Yeah.
Because I could tell you for a fact that growing up, and even till now, I have family members that come visit, and they're like, ya eres americana.
Yeah.
You're not Mexican enough.
True.
But then you're here, and it's like they see you and they say, well, you're not American enough either.
Yeah. And
so it's understanding like the nuances between that, I think really helps you understand just people from all walks of life.
It's a privilege. We were born lucky. Everyone who is from this region, I want to say like south of San Diego and north of Tijuas, it's a very unique community. It's a different language, and I'm not even talking English or Spanish. It's a different language, a different form of communication. It's different business practices. It's just different ways of living your life. And I feel like, yeah, you're probably right. It's more than being Mexican. It's probably just being from here. We take what we've learned here and we go other places, and it's like, I don't change. And, BJ and my close friends can attest. We just take what we know and we take it on the road, and we act the same way. We don't really move and try to act differently. We just take what we know and do what we do. And for some reason, it always seems to be okay. And I enjoy ruffling feathers, but I also enjoy being like, oh, I'm free to move within this group. I'm free to move within that group. I'm accepted in all of these groups, all because we're just being ourselves. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
We're transparent.
You're transparent. And again, it's part of who you are. You're not, faking it. You
got to fake it a little bit. Just to get into the door. I feel like you got to fake it.
Once you get the foot in the door.
How'd you get into the political door?
That's a good question. So when I was 18, 17, 18, when I was getting ready to apply for college, right? I was going to an all-girls Catholic high school, Our Lady of Peace. Shout out to OLP.
OLP? Okay. I've heard of that school.
And, my mom just wanting to put me in the best schools according to her. But I will say I'm a product of all three school systems, charter, public, and private.
Oof. That's unique. That is very unique because you can talk on all of those things, the pluses, pros and cons.
When we first crossed and I went to charter school, I didn't know how to speak in English. I struggled learning to read. It was a tough situation. My mom didn't know how to speak in English either.
How'd you learn?
I had to stay at a lot of after school programs.
Okay.
To just learn how to
like the basics and stuff.
The basics.
We grew up in a similar situation. Like obviamente, like at school we spoke English. That was always the rule. Mijo en escuela inglés, pero en la casa puro español. And that again, I was lucky to have that kind of environment, to have that situation. But growing up, because my grandma would take care of us, and my tíos and my abuelita, I watched a lot of Sesame Street. I watched a lot of like Mr. Rogers, and I feel like
still does.
Yeah, true. Aside from like being in school and learning like legitimately the principles of the English language, like the foundation and what it takes to speak English, I feel like those fucking programs really helped me. And Little House on the Prairie and Saved by the Bell. Thank you. Those are the things.
Special shout out to them.
Big ups AC Slater. I mean, those are the things that truly like helped us speak English on a more like, oh, this is how you communicate in English,
Of course, I watched Dragon Tales and all those shows on KPBS, but really learning was the teachers that stayed with me after school. I still keep in touch with some of them. Miss Fletcher, Miss Maria. I went to McGill, which was in Golden Hills.
Okay, where's that?
You're so bad.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's where Lucha Libre is.
Correct. Yeah, that's where Shakespeare's pub is.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. See,
exactly.
now I know.
Bar Dynamite.
See? Now I know. There you go. But yeah, it was a tough situation just learning how to speak in English. But when I was getting ready to go into college and I was at OLP, I realized that I was not eligible for something called FAFSA.
Okay.
So I could not apply for financial aid. I knew that I did not have status, but I didn't know what impact that meant for me post high school. Like I just didn't understand. I didn't put two and two together.
Because that's a whole different world after you left high school.
World.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a whole different world. You're sheltered a little bit. You're a child.
Very much so.
And so I didn't understand, and I started applying to colleges, and then I started seeing like $50,000 for this school or $60,000 for this guy. I said, where is this? I didn't really understand the concept of money either.
Yeah.
I was like, where is this money coming from?
No pasa nada, I'll go there. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And so I started applying, and I was like, oh my goodness, not only is it expensive, but I have to pay out-of-state tuition because when you're on document, you have to pay out-of-state tuition. And it just got really complicated quickly. And at the same time, then President Obama passed something called DACA, his executive order to, have temporarily relief towards deportations for children that were brought to the States, early on in their lifetime. And it allowed us to go to school. It allowed us to have a work permit, license, all that stuff. So I was like, great, perfect timing.
Made it easier.
But it's still this limbo land, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have permanent residency. We can't apply for a green card, can't apply for visa, which is funny. But anywho, we still pay taxes and all that other fun stuff. And so...
Of course.
Of course, absolutely.
Fuck you, pay me, como es el Uncle Sam.
So, I started applying for college, and then I ended up learning that, I was only going to get in-state financial aid called the California Dream Act. And so I stayed at SDSU very locally. I wanted to go as far away as possible. Like I said, I want to go to NYU or go to San Francisco. And
San Diego State, often referred to as the NYU of the West.
Exactly.
Never.
There you
go ahead. It's never been referred to
Hey,
that, bro.
so I wanted to study business administration. SDSU was a
SDSU is a
perfect
great school for that.
Great school.
Absolutely.
It was like everything aligned for me in the universe. I didn't know it. I didn't understand it, but it worked out great. So I applied to SDSU, ended up getting accepted, and I was like, I'm going to do business administration because all these family role models and community leaders were like, do business. You're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to make money.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
The American dream.
The American
Right?
dream. And so I started doing business admin, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but I don't really enjoy it too much. Then I was talking to one of my aunts, and she says, why don't you get an internship? I said, okay, let's get an internship. She goes, why don't you get an internship at the mayor's office?
Okay.
I said, okay.
Where did your tia come up with this plan, though? Like, what was her background with just saying internship? No, mayoral internship.
Well, I think she just was thinking like political,
Okay.
something to get
She was
involved.
pushing into that
She was pushing
arena.
into that room. She's heavily involved. She worked for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce
Okay.
for many years. She was the CEO and
La tía sí sabe.
La tía sí sabe. And so she, she's been around San Diego for quite some time, and she's like, trying to guide me, to do something, right? Because I could learn or meet several people in that internship. So I said, okay. So she's like, apply for this internship. Back then, Mayor Kevin Faulkner. And I said, okay, great. I will apply. Got
Friend
in.
of the show.
Got in. Did the interview. Got in, and I guess the rest is history.
Nice.
And the reason why I was inclined to do that political internship was because I was starting to become more politically aware of what was going on because of my immigration.
Because it was
status
direct effect on your life,
on my life.
on where you were going to be in 5 years or what you were going to be doing in 3 years. That's crazy. And that's what we were talking about. We had Carolina Chavez on earlier, and we were talking about like the people who are most against politics are probably the people who are more directly affected by politics, especially local politics. So it's like whether you try to steer clear of, well, I'm not a political person. I'm sorry to break it to you, but politics run our life. I'm not a political person. I just know what I know and I what I need to know. But I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a business owner. I live in the community. We're homeowners here. So it's like politics greatly dictates what I am going to do on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis.
Exactly. You know that all too well. And for me, it was a mixture of the immigration status. It was a lot of my early childhood where I remember my mom living in fear, being undocumented, like getting pulled over or not accidentally driving into a military base because you were going to get asked for your ID. And so all those things just kind of haunted me a little bit. And I was like, I need to get involved. I need to do something. I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I'm doing this. I don't know how politics works. And like I said, the rest is history.
And now you live, breathe politics.
Live and breathe politics. And I actually was mentoring a few students in high school at the Junior Achievement County.
Recently? Is this like, oh, good for
Recently,
you. That's
yes.
awesome.
And one of the students said, well, if you wanted to make change, why are you running campaigns? Like, how are you creating change that way? And, there's different ways to create change. And at the end of the day, you're working to elect whoever you think is best to represent you, right? And that person is going to make the choices or the decisions for you. And I'm not directly working on legislation, but I am helping elect people who are going to make
You're
those
in the room.
legislation.
You're in
I'm
the conversation. And
I'm in the
probably
room.
more often than not, you're over there like sharing ideas.
Exactly. Or telling about my live experiences, right? I mean, someone regionally that's involved in politics not too recently asked me like, hey, so can you explain to me your status again? And how does this affect you? And what's going on? Like, what does this mean for you? Like, I don't really understand. And you'd be surprised. Like, a lot of people don't understand what's going on with immigration. They literally come up to me and say, well, why don't you just fix your status? And I was like, I wish it was that easy to fix my status.
What is the big obstacle in just quote unquote fixing your status, Marcy?
I mean, there is no pathway to citizenship.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well,
$5 million. $5 million will get you a citizenship.
Or marriage.
Okay, is that still a thing?
Apparently, it's still a thing.
There you go. We got to find
Trying
her
to bring
one
back
of
the
your
Emo Brown
cousins.
Dating Show.
We got to find her one of your cousins.
You don't want any of my cousins.
So
Trying to marry me off.
we got to get you legal status and have you stay here. You have a lot of great to bring to our communities. You've been doing it.
Yes.
So immigration is that cloud that's been hanging over your head, is what I gather, all of your life.
It's the cloud, but I sometimes say something that's not too popular.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. which is,
and this is it.
And here I go.
I don't like to have immigration or my legal status like determine who I am or like what I do every day, right? Like it's a part of me, but it's not who I am every day. And so when I'm talking to people across political spectrums, if they don't have an immigration policy that's necessarily 100% aligned with me, I still don't write them off because, as Carolina said earlier, you still have to work with these people because there's a bunch of other issues that are affecting our community. And at the end of the day, while this directly affects me and my family, I do also care my community. Like
for sure.
It's more than what just topic. And I think going back to being a chameleon and being able to talk to people from all walks of life, it's like you have to understand where they're coming from and what issues are troubling them and where their pain is coming from. And we always talk about this too, is like, I like to turn my pain into purpose, right? And I want to help other people do the same. And so it's just reaching to them and meeting them halfway because I think that we all have more in common than we're led to believe.
Very compassionate. It seems like you work from a place of compassion. That's where some of your motives come from because you've obviously you have to.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time.
It's a crazy
How does this Trump administration affect everything for you currently?
You know, I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen immigration-wise. I've heard that his, borders are, Tom Homan has said that DACA is going to be untouched, right? But what does that mean for other members of the immigrant community that don't have citizenship, that don't have DACA? I think that's where a little bit of the fear stems from.
I think they do it on purpose, though. They leave everything gray. It's just like there is no clear-cut answer. They want to have everybody just kind of like, oh, now what do we do? Can't do this, can't do that because of this, because of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I will work with anyone. If the administration wants to work with me and we can get a pathway to citizenship for dreamers and other folks, let's do it.
Is that the ultimate goal for you think, to be involved in a program that would ultimately lead to a pathway to citizenship?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great goal to have.
I think it would be a full circle moment for me.
Nice.
And I've had several of those full circle moments working on my career. As I mentioned earlier, one of my mom's clients was John Moore, and I actually sat with him at a fundraising dinner not too long ago, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, you probably don't remember me," because I was young. And he goes, "No, of course I do, and your mom and your brother."
Okay,
he knows
perfect.
my brother Carlos.
Big ups, Carlos, friend of the show, talented brewer.
Exactly, my brother, as I like to call him. And tears started streaming down my face because it's like, how am I now sitting at this table with him and doing business?
That's awesome.
When my mom used to clean his house.
That's awesome.
And I always remember a quote that Kobe Bryant said, which is like, the dream is not the actual goal that you achieve. It's like the journey there. And I feel like I live that every day because I have these full circle moments that happen to me on a consistent basis. Like meeting Nancy Pelosi, whether you're on the Democratic side or not, like just
that's a very high-ranking political figure, so it doesn't really matter. Like
this
if you're
little girl that comes from Tijuana, that was born in La Paz, Baja California Sur, that is undocumented, was able to meet Nancy Pelosi.
Bill Gates. How the heck do you go into Bill Gates' house? Like, how does that happen?
Through a gate.
It was a whole situation. Everyone had to have
Bill Gates.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man, I wish they deported you for Jesus Christ.
I'll see my way out.
I'll see my way out.
Yeah, so it was just it's been a fun journey. It's been a fun journey to live the dream, to get up every day, even this, like getting up every day even when you're tired, doing the work, showing up when you don't want to show up.
There's no options. You have options. You're still young, Like at our stage where BJ and I are at, we have families that we have to. I have little people that look up to me, so it's like there literally is no option. To eat. They love eating. There's literally no option. I have to go and get it done. And unless I get sick, then I turn into a big baby, and my wife has to take care of me. But aside from that, I'm all in. You're all in. You've been. What do you like about being a campaign manager? What do you like about running campaigns? What is it that motivates you there? That just seems very high stress.
It is high stress.
Yeah.
But I work well in high-paced environments. And maybe it's because, growing up, we were always in a really stressed environment. Like my mom was living paycheck to paycheck. She was working 3 jobs. She was trying to, make ends meet. And so maybe that's where it stems from, like my work ethic. But I really do enjoy it because I know that at the end of the day, I'm having a direct effect in my community. And like I said, I'm not working on the legislation, but I am working for someone that's going to make a change. And you need to take that job seriously.
Yes. And you do. Well, I remember initially, we won't harp on it too much, but yeah, when you were working with Amar, you're very diligent. Like you're like, oh, you were always like on your phone, like, okay, Amar, we got to go here. Okay, now we got to do this. We have an interview here. We got to go visit this place. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what you do. That's intense. You've parlayed that into working with Carolina Chavez. You're in what do you do in that campaign?
I'm her consultant.
Okay, so you are her consultant.
I'm not managing her 24/7, but I am, guiding her strategy on a higher level. And
thank you for bringing her to us.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. You have a lot of responsibility. You have a lot of responsibility. How do you wear that?
Proudly. And I take it, and like I said, I take it very seriously. It's fun. It's fun for me, but it's not fun like, it's just whatever thing for me. It's fun because I enjoy it, because I understand the consequences of not winning this seat, right? And it going to somebody else that doesn't necessarily align with us politically. She talked about the border and how we have such a huge economic regional county here, and the immigration impacts of it too, right? I mean, San Diego's always being talked about because we're a border town for immigration too. So I take it seriously, 100%.
Sure. Bring up her website real quick, Mr. BJ, so she can kind of navigate us through it. Here it is, how it all started. A quick update on how Ms. Marcela Miranda-Caballero got started in her journey to the top. What is at the top of this webpage, though? What do we got up here?
So started with Mayor Kevin Faulkner.
There it is. Look at that. Your journey starts here. So what do you exactly offer here? What do we do on this website?
So we work on mail, texting, and just strategy overall for campaigns. As you know, the best way to communicate with folks is via mail still. I know snail mail seems kind of old school, but people pay attention.
But it's something you can hold.
It's something you can hold,
it's something
right?
you can hold, see, and be like, oh, okay, there it is.
And everyone receives it, right? When you're talking about social media targeting, there's only a certain amount of people you're going to reach. You're not going to reach folks that are a little older, that are not on social media, or the people that absolutely, hate social media. But mail, everyone's going to read their mail. Everyone's getting a bill in the mail. Everyone's getting something. So your mail is the biggest one. Texting, directly texting you on your phone and saying, hey, I'm so-and-so.
When did that become popular? That's crazy. Because out of nowhere, Obama started texting me.
Yeah.
Then out of nowhere, Newsom started texting me. All California things all started going through. It's like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Like maybe 6-8 years ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And now it's nonstop, bro.
And now it's nonstop.
See the things he sends me now.
Yeah. We become homies.
You gotta be careful because they sell your phone numbers to other campaigns.
Who cares? I don't care. Sell my phone number, dude. Just barely have a phone. We are very connected to our phones with everything we do, whether it's running a business, running a campaign, just running a family. This is everything now. And our wifey and I were talking about it. I remember getting my first cell phone. I remember buying her first cell phone, maybe 25, in the early part of 2001, 2002 is when that little AirTag, the Razor, the Motorola flip phone came
the Razor.
out.
I used to have the magenta one.
Yeah, and then that was it. I was like, I've had a phone on my side, in my pocket ever since then. And now I can't live without it, because everything we do here, whether it's Little League, whether it's my kids' elementary school, their middle school,
paying your bills, signing up for,
creating a social media platform, whatever it is, it's like this is it.
The world is in your hands.
It literally is, and that's why I don't want to give my kids phones yet, dude.
How old are your kids?
12, 10, and 7. They're not ready yet. 7, no.
I got my first phone when I was in 2nd grade, but I used to walk home by myself.
Yeah. I mean, and then that's the issue that always comes up when wifey and I are talking about, should we get him a phone? It's like, he's in middle school. We need to get it. I threw an AirTag in his bag, and those things are not even reliable. I'm here with him, and it shows that he's still at school. I'm like,
he might lose a backpack. He'll never lose a phone.
Yeah. Unless we even start doing a little
just have him swallow the AirTag. And then
Tell me a little bit about your news appearances. You've been making a lot of appearances on TV. What is that all about?
I was reached out to by Univision, and they, offered me a political correspondent analyst role, and I said, sure, why not? I mean, I'm in the position to do it now, now that I'm
in Spanish, flowing hardcore. As soon as I saw it, I was like, a ver si es cierto, a ver si se la rifan.
En español.
Yeah, and you did. I was like, oh hell yeah, good for her. That was.
You're
cool.
probably like, oh, she said tariffs, aranceles.
I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, ooh, let's see how she answers this one. And I was like, oh, no dijo parquear, dijo estacionar. I was like, oh, good on her, dude. Like, just using the legitimate terminology. Was that scary? Is that intimidating? Or is that just like, I was built for this?
I think at first it was a little scary because I just hadn't done it before. But then I was like, you know what? I got this.
You'd never done it?
Never done
Legit, straight up, I thought like, okay, she probably went to school for this.
No.
I was like, she probably went to school for journalism or media communications or something, because you went up there, you shot your shot in Spanish, you were answering everything. I was like, okay, well, obviously she's very well informed because this is the world she lives in. And two, it's like, oh, she's not really like struggling. You were very fluid.
You have to remember that part of my job is to coach people to do this. And so part of me was like, I can do this. Obviously I can do this because I've been doing it behind the scenes. It's just a matter of, can I perform?
How often do you go on Univision and make appearances now?
Whenever
there's like a major election?
Every 2 weeks, but whenever there's major news. I always get asked like 5 p.m. the day before. I have to be there at 5 a.m.
Trump's going to keep you busy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of major news affecting everything we do here in the community locally.
Are you ready to pay like $7 for your avocado?
I have a plug, so we're good.
You're good?
We good on that. We got that.
Are you growing avocados here until
We got that. 5 for 1. Fucking Carnaval, deal, baby. I shouldn't even say that because nigga. Not Carnaval. Northgate. Go to Northgate. Go to Northgate. No, things are about there. Okay, I feel it more in the brewery world because the tariff that specifically affects us right now is aluminum and steel from China. These little vessels that you're drinking liquid death from are going to come at a much higher cost for us. We have a local plug, and fortunately, we don't require the amounts that would truly break our back. Like I order like pellets at a time, as opposed to like, okay, well, I need this semi-truck worth of aluminum and this and that.
Yeah.
So, but it's still something that you're going to feel.
Exactly.
It's still things. A lot of the hops that we get are from the Pacific Northwest, which in turn use a lot of raw materials from Canada. So it's like shit. Like these things truly do affect me, which do truly affect a lot of people. And we might not know. We might be ignorant to like, well, that doesn't bother me. I don't care. America, dog. Everyone's going to be affected by these tariffs. And there's a reason they keep pushing them back. And it's like, okay, one more month without it. Because Americans know that we're the ones that are going to lose, bro. We're the ones that are going to end up paying the $7 for an avocado. All of these things, the eggs. I was at Costco over the weekend. One, and then nothing to do with tariffs or anything, but a lot to do with what happens when the regular routine of having goods readily available to us kind of hit a hiccup or an obstacle, and just how it fucking just derails everything. We got there right when they opened up the weekend, like at 9:30, and there's a fucking line, dude, to get in.
Oh, to get into Costco.
To get into Costco.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. I was telling my wife.
I was in an egg line like 2 weeks ago.
Dude, I was like, what's going on? This is normal? She's like, oh, you don't know because you were always at work during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, I was the one going out. My wife, I was the one going out and getting all the groceries and this is what it was like. And I was like, holy shit. So we wait in line, we get in, and then like everyone's just gunning it to the dairy section to get their milk and get their eggs. And there's a limit on the eggs you can get. And I was like, holy shit.
You know what I like about Costco people, though?
Go ahead.
They always go the same path. There are a million ways to get there, but they go down the same one, and they're just...
Yep.
They're diligent.
Stay on the path.
Yeah. So then you get there, it's a limit of 3, and we got there literally right when they opened, and I saw it like diminish because I said, oh, limit 3, I don't want to be an asshole. I'll get 2. So I got 2, and then I told the wife, it's like, what's up? Do we need another one? She's like, well, we have one at the house, but if the limit's 3, I said, yeah, we should probably just at least went back there. Like the eggs were done. It was like pretty much like done. Yeah. And it was like an hour. So I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's with one small tweak. That's with fucking birds having the bird flu and passing them down. Now tariffs are going to do this fucking same thing because that's just going to create potentially scarcity on goods that we really need. Scarcity and high cost. So it's like, oh my gosh. How are you going to help us with that, Marcy?
I don't want to take on that full responsibility, but let's start off with
hit up your homie Bill Gates for that one.
For real, no. But like I said, I take it really seriously that we're gonna have to elect someone for this county board supervisor race, and again, everything that's coming through our border, these tariffs.
Yeah.
You're gonna need someone that's talking to folks on the federal level
Yeah.
too, advocating for us here because we're fronterizos. We're border town.
The government got trigger happy with the tariffs without truly like finding out that the effect, like when the first tariff that came through and was going to affect the auto industry, then some of the higher ups were like, well, that's going to fuck us because we do a lot of international transferring through Mexico. So it goes over there and it comes back. Then I'm going to get another tariff. And it just gets a little bit ridiculous. And I want to say, like, that was one of the reasons, like, all right, let's hold off.
Yeah.
Let's give it another 30-day.
Let's do another extension.
Yeah, another extension.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was what I was looking for. Let's give it another extension until we truly figure out. And they're like, oh, shit, maybe we can't do this. And then there's Canada. Canada's like, fuck this, homie. We're going all in. You want to go to war with us? And this is what's going to happen. I'm like, oh, man. This is like Red Dawn, BJ. The original, missing with the new one. The original Red Dawn, when America was left on an island alone without any support from any of its allies. The allies are out fighting their different wars, as we just saw. Now the European allies are kind of doing their thing, trying to help Ukraine. And then you got certain other not necessarily allies, powers joining up and coming against us. And that kind of leaves us like, oh, shit, now we're beefing with our southern border friends and our northern border friends. It's
And
like,
we're beefing with each other.
yeah. And I was like, who do we, the country is divided. It's like, oh, what kind of American are you? And it's like, oh, my God. Ya me asusté. There's nowhere to go.
Miedo.
Yeah, tengo miedo. Can't go to Mexico. Shit's bad there. Can't go to Canada. Can't go there. Got to stay here and do what's right for us here.
All we can hope is that California breaks off and floats into the ocean.
BJ, that's a ridiculous hope. Pero sí, así lo
Hey,
que
we have an
pasa.
economy that's large enough to sustain us.
6 highest in the world. But I mean, still, that's scary.
It's a little scary.
That is fucking scary.
We get to keep Disneyland. What else do you want?
I don't want Disneyland. Disneyland's horrible, dude.
Oh
So
my goodness.
This
You're
portion of the
hurting my
podcast is
soul
brought
right
to you
now.
by Minnie Mouse. It's Women's Month. Go ahead. It's Women's Month. What is your ultimate goal, Marcy?
Ultimate goal.
What is your ultimate goal? What do you want to accomplish? Do you see yourself jumping into the political ring?
I'm gonna pull Esteban and say I never ever want to run for office.
Right.
Never. I love being behind the scenes. I enjoy the work that I do, but just exposing seeing what happens when you expose yourself to that much scrutiny, it's scary because everything's up for grabs.
Everything.
Your children, your significant other, your family, and I think that's where I draw the line. I'm not comfortable with that.
Your past felonious ways, getting caught up. I know a lot of homies who threw their hat in the ring, and then all of a
they
sudden,
regretted it?
everything started coming out. I was like, you dumb motherfucker, dude. Like, what? It's like, you knew what kind of life you lived, and now look at it. Everyone can see it.
Exactly.
Everyone can see it. Oh, no. That's crazy. So, no, nothing like that for you?
Definitely not running for office, but definitely staying in the arena for a long time.
Yes.
I kind of stopped doing this long-term goal thing. I'm focusing more on short-term, mid-term goals. I think one of them is working on immigration policy, right? And if that means working with the current administration, let's go for it.
I like that.
I'm all game for that.
I like that there's no barriers with you. It's like the goal is the goal, and I don't care who I have to go with to get it done because the goal is the goal.
Well, and like Carolina mentioned earlier, like we're breaking barriers, right? Constantly, consistently. I have in my lifetime with my life story. Like I'm not supposed to be here living this dream, but here I am. And a lot of people talk about, well, the American dream is dead. Well, it depends on how you define the American dream, right?
Exactly.
And some people think that, having a white picket fence and having children and being married is the best. And that's
Oh shit,
great.
I have that. I have a white picket fence. I have children, and I'm married.
Yeah, there
You're the
you
American
go.
dream.
That is one version, but
have
I
a
feel
treehouse.
it's evolved since when I was little. I mean,
Yeah.
the American dream, like I said, it means different things to different people.
And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. But but for me, it's just like continuing this work and breaking the barriers and working with whomever I have to. It's not that I'm selling out. It's just that at the end of the day, we want to get results done. We want to get solutions done. And I think that specifically the immigrant community, the undocumented community, like we've gone through a lot already, and there's been several attempts to do bipartisan bills, and nothing has been done. But I also feel like a lot of that has to do with people wanting to continue the problem, right? On both sides of the aisle. There's a lot of tribalism, and when you're feeding into specific issues, it's like you keep it going. You keep that tribalism, you keep that polarization going, and I don't like that. Because at the end of the day, we're here to serve our country. We're here to serve our community, and that's what we should be working on. And I think that's where
Get it, girl.
where things get a little fuzzy.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's a crazy time that we're living in, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. That is it. You got to keep coming back to these shows. You got to keep coming on here because I feel like we're gonna be your other side project aside from Univision, where you come in and you got to drop knowledge on what major political campaigns are going on, what the major objectives are. We work closely with Jim Hinch of Voice of San Diego, even though he stood us up today. Big ups to Jim Hinch, friend of the show.
He's probably just outside.
He might be outside. No, but it's like, this is important. You're not alone. You know your personal situation that you shared with us today, whether it's immigration status or just what you do as a career path that you've chosen, you are not alone. Like, you have the opportunity to just influence a lot of people with the way that you've were raised in our community and all of the wins that you've had. Yeah, it's not that easy for everybody.
It's not, but like I said, truly, I am where I am because of the mentors that I've had across my lifetime. Starting with my mom, obviously, like, you know, she gave me life and she's guided me along the way, but just mentors in different chapters of my life, from different walks of life, from different areas. Like, I am here because of them.
There it is, BJ. She's here because of them.
Because of them. And I do this work for them too.
Who's your biggest mentor aside from your mom? Who do you attribute to giving you that big push in your career path?
I don't want to say that I have one big mentor because I have several. You know, when I was in high school, I had a math tutor. Her name's Sarah Salinas. She was amazing. And in that point of my life when we were going through hardships, she was there for me. And she really got me through. And she was amazing. I've had my mentor from Mayor Kevin Faulconer's office, Alejandra Gabaldon. She was amazing too. And she really guided me through like the political arena and just shared a lot of her perspective and her background. And sometimes that's all that we need, right? That's why I do the mentorship programs, because sometimes you just need to show people what you've done and how you've done it. And they'll take what they want from that. You don't always have to tell people and exactly how to do things. You just have to guide them.
How can people get a hold of you? How can people reach out to you?
My website, which is Marcela, or MMC Strategies LLC.com. My Instagram, which is MMC Strategies as well. And I don't have X, actually. I don't have Twitter.
You don't have Twitter? I go on there for all the garbage. There's so much chisme like around the world. I go on there for, it's weird. Like I like staying on top of what goes on in the cartel world to see like how it affects us here being fronterizos. We are in the crosshairs. I like going on there for sports, and I feel like there's no really other platform that gives it to you direct and uncut. You know, like like media doesn't really give it to you. They censor a lot of stories. They don't have a lot of stories on there. But I feel like the one good thing about like what Elon Musk has done is keep Twitter, now X, pretty much accessible to everybody. You know, so that's a good thing.
My Twitter might actually be Marshmallow20.
Yeah? Marshmallow 20. That's
Marshmallow 20.
There it is, Marshmallow. Find her at Marshmallow 20.
There you go.
Looking for a citizen to marry her. Let's get it done.
We're cutting. We're done. All right, I'm out.
Thank you for making time to come in here. Aquí está tu
Absolutely.
casita. Cuando
Thank you for
quieras,
having
Marcy,
me.
we will always welcome you. Thank you, BJ.